said I was going in, right? So she came out and turned on her fucking light, right? When I said, I, I'm going in. Then she came out, threw some trash and opened the thing and shit like that. And then she turned on her light and then turned it off, right? As soon as I ended my last live, you know what I'm saying? But okay, y'all will keep playing games. Hey, I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. I ain't got to go to work. I ain't got shit to do. You know. And so see, these niggas really, so that means they sent them here for real, cause they really out there, what they drinking and shit. So they really sent these niggas here and shit. And that's why, So it's basically like, yeah, I said they doing the, you know, we can be here. Like, nah, B, you can't be here. And that bitch can't save you right there. You need the word. But anyway, so all of a sudden, niggas, this is a spot to hang out and drink and shit. All right, so here since they wanting some more.
Which is that you're abdicating responsibility?
I'm not abdicating
Then
responsibility.
give me the answer. Do you think, in your opinion, you are the Attorney General of the United States? You are in charge of the Justice Department. And yes, sir, you are responsible. So give me an answer.
The FBI does not agree with your description.
I'm not asking about the FBI. You are the Attorney General. Give me your answer. Do you think that it was objectively reasonable and they followed your guidelines in sending 20 to 30 armed agents to terrorize these people? Yes or no? Attorney General Garland, let me just ask you, does your department have a problem with anti-Catholic bias?
Our department protects all religions and all ideologies. It does not have any bias against any religion of any kind.
Well, you could have surprised me, because given the resources that you are expending and the apparently intelligence assets that you are deploying against Catholics, it appears, and other people of faith, while simultaneously turning a blind eye while people are executed gang style in the streets of our cities, including in my home state, your answer frankly surprises me. Let's talk about the Mark Houck case, for example. You've been asked about this already today, and frankly, your answers really astound me. This is a case where a Catholic pro-life demonstrator, father, was accused of disorderly conduct in front of an abortion center. The local prosecutor, the Philadelphia district attorney,
Oh yeah, like them niggas right there sit with the drink on it. Yeah, and nobody give a fuck what you do it somewhere else, nigga. That's how that work. Do it somewhere else. I know who told you to come here. I don't even think y'all belong to it because that's it. Said I walked up there. Remember, I tried to walk in and just ask what they doing, but the door's locked. And some members came out. Well, they actually only answering the door because some of their members, whatever it is, like, oh no, this members. Okay, so yeah, I doubt y'all members. All of a sudden you just come around here to find a parking spot to chill in.
A liberal, very progressive, declined to prosecute. There was a private suit that got dismissed. And then after all of that, your Justice Department sent between 20 and 30 armed agents in the early morning hours to the Houck's private residence to arrest this guy after he had offered to turn himself in voluntarily. Here's the photo. Once again, you can see the long guns, you can see the ballistic shields, you can see that they're wearing bulletproof vests. Why did the Justice Department do this? Why did you send 20 to 30 SWAT-style agents and a SWAT-style team to this guy's house when everybody else had declined to prosecute and he'd offered to turn himself in?
Determinations of how to make arrests under arrest warrants are made based.
You would agree that this is called.
How to make arrests under arrest warrants are made based by the tactical operators in the district. They are not.
But you surely looked into it by this point, right? You know the answer, surely.
All I know is what the FBI has said, which is that they made decisions on the ground as to what was safest and easiest.
So
you do not agree with your description of what happened on the scene.
You don't agree with my description. I'm pointing out what the photo is. There are agents here who have long guns and ballistic shields. Let's take a look at the hardened criminals that your Justice
Nah, I don't think they're just doing this for show.
Department sent these armed agents to go terrorize on that morning. Here they are. Here they are at Mass. Here's the 7 children with Mr. Houck and his wife. In this early morning, they were all at home. Mrs. Houck has said repeatedly the children were screaming. They feared for their lives. You got these agents demanding that he come out. They've got the guns, she said, pointing at the house and at them. He has offered to turn himself in. And this is who you go to terrorize. What's really interesting to me is this seems to directly contradict your own memorandum about the use of force at the Justice Department. You say officers may use only the force that is objectively reasonable.
So you heard that they had
control an incident.
the loud car come by. So they're doing operations. So she just came out too. At the same time, the loud car just the he gone now, but yeah, and so they had her come out at the same time, to throw some more stuff into her trash. So, the beep. So that their feelings are hurt. It's like this just the beginning, bitch. The little loud car ain't gonna save you. The loud car, all they doing is making themselves easier fucking targets to follow with that loud ass pipe. And no, he ain't gonna have the fastest car. You try to run, but you can't hide. So you see, there's no way she's in coordination with this. Is the government just did that? So these are your Democrats sending little boys with a loud car. I guess I don't know because I'm recording. They didn't want you to hear. What's the point?
control an incident. Are you telling me that in your opinion as Attorney General, it was objectively necessary to use 20 or 30 SWAT-style agents with long guns and ballistic shields for these people?
What I'm saying is that decisions about how to go about this were made on the ground by FBI agents.
So you're saying you don't know?
I'm saying what I just said.
Which is that you're abdicating responsibility?
I'm not abdicating responsibility.
Then give me the answer. Do you think, in your opinion, you are the Attorney General of the United States? You are in charge of the Justice Department, and yes, sir, you are responsible. So give me an answer.
The FBI does not agree with your description.
I'm not asking about the FBI. You are the Attorney General. Give me your answer. Do you think that it was objectively reasonable and they followed your guidelines in sending 20 to 30 armed agents to terrorize these people? Yes or no?
The facts I have, which are those presented by the FBI, are not consistent with your description.
So you think it was reasonable?
I'm saying the facts are not as you describe.
What, that the children weren't there? That there weren't long guns there? That there weren't agents? What wasn't? What do you dispute? What's the factual premise you dispute? Be
FBI
specific.
Said they don't agree with your description of...
Be specific. They don't agree with what?
Of how many agents, of the agents who were there, and of what their roles were. They don't agree.
Do you know the jury in this case acquitted Mr. Houck? As I'm sure you're aware. Do you know how long it took him?
I am aware, and we respect the decision of the jury.
Do you know how long it took him?
I don't know.
1 hour. 1 hour. Philadelphia District Attorney declines to prosecute. The private suit's dismissed. You use an unbelievable show of force with guns that I just note liberals usually decry. We're supposed to hate long guns and assault-style weapons. You're happy to deploy them against Catholics and innocent children. Happy to. And then you haul him into court and a jury acquits him in 1 hour. I just suggest to you that that is a disgraceful performance by your Justice Department and a disgraceful use of resources. I notice a pattern, though. The FBI field office in Richmond, on the 23rd of January of this year, issued a memorandum in which they advocated for, and I quote, the exploration of new avenues for tripwire and source development against traditionalist Catholics, it's their language, including those who favor the Latin Mass. Attorney General, are you cultivating sources and spies in Latin Mass parishes and other Catholic parishes around the country?
No, the Justice Department does not do that. It does not do investigations based on religion. I saw the document you have. It's appalling. It's appalling. I'm in complete agreement with you. I understand that the FBI has withdrawn it and is now looking into how this could ever have happened.
How did it happen?
That's what they're looking into. But I'm totally in agreement with you. That document is appalling.
I'll tell you how it happened. This memorandum, which is supposed to be intelligent, cites extensively the Southern Poverty Law Center, which goes on to identify all of these different Catholics as being part of hate groups. Is this how the FBI, under your direction and leadership, is this how they do their intelligence work? They look at left-wing advocacy groups to target Catholics? Is this what's going on? I mean, clearly it is. How is this happening?
The FBI is not targeting Catholics, and as I've said, this is an inappropriate memorandum, and it doesn't reflect the methods that the FBI is supposed to be using. It should not be relying on any single organization without doing it.
See, that's what we call, he's scared, he's stuttering, like I said, the protection is gone. It's like he's still left without going to prison. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see.
I want to thank Frank Gaffney, Tony Perkins, all my colleagues for taking a lead charge.
Well, later this week, the UN is going to hold a, quote, summit for the future. And they're going to produce, this is right from their website, an intergovernmentally negotiated, action-oriented pact for the future with a chapter on transforming global governance. Ascending beyond the powers being sought by its subordinate agency, the WHO, the UN is seeking even broader and more powerful authority, as you will hear a lot about today. The Biden-Harris administration apparently intends to fully support the surrender and compliance of the U.S. to the UN in these endeavors. They are aligned with the international globalists that hate.
So this is real. This is what I keep talking about. It's not a conspiracy theory. That's what's up. This bitch right here, these fuck niggas out here, the little clowns riding by and they little loud. I don't understand why black folks would want to support this shit. And do for Kamala, the Democrats, the mayor here, what's her name? I forgot her name, and Roy Cooper, the governor. I don't know what's up with you black folks that y'all wanna goddamn support this shit. This clown right here, whatever it is, but it is electric car. That's fine if you want to buy it. Like we said, don't force us to. But it's not a conspiracy. That's what I'm saying. It's about to go down. No, that means y'all are fucking traitors. There's no other word for it. Y'all are traitors. If you are a traitor, I feel bad. Like, what the hell did you do that you got to do this for these folks? Risk your freedom and life. Really, treason charges is the penalty.
They are aligned with the international globalists that hate America, that hate the Constitution, that hate our founders, that hate our founding Judeo-Christian principles, and they want America to become like the rest of the world. They don't want us to be subordinate to or governed by our Constitution. No, they want America to be subordinate to and governed by the UN, the World Health Assembly, and the WHO. And in fact, they intend to join with others at the UN summit this week to vote to award additional powers to the UN Secretary General. They seek to facilitate the evolution of the UN from an international cooperative body to an international governing body. These powers would be...
See, that's what I keep talking about. Matter of fact, like I said, that show is a PG-13 show. The Uglies, a movie. That's what the beginning. Oh, borders have mankind is they can't evolve or whatever the fuck they said at the beginning of the movie. That's why you got to watch it to see what they're pushing to the youngsters. That the boy and that that has the one scene where they're like oh, they're looking at the party. I wanted to be at that party. Oh, they look like that. I'm like, who in the hell ever wanted to be at them? All the parties I've been to, you just show up. Well, if you're not cool, you're not cool. Whatever. And then the way they make it look, them people ain't cool. It's like, why the fuck? The only reason we would show up at the party like they showed is the fuck the white hoes. Cause we gangsters. Yeah, we know they don't get to see us all the time. That's the only reason we would show up, and we don't want to be with them and taking pictures and smiling and all that fake shit. The only thing is shit. What's up with you, bitch? Oh, that's your boyfriend? Yeah, fuck that nigga. Something like I'm talking about. We young. Don't nobody give a fuck about that that fake ass shit. These idiots think that's real life. These young black folks think that's this. They brainwashed y'all. Nobody wanna that shit. Nobody cares about celebrities. We keep telling y'all, right? And they're trying to make that shit real. These fools literally think they're gonna be the leaders of the world. They're gonna get rid of borders, and just like we said, they really think that's just a movie. It's just a movie. No, these fools, they're trying to get these young kids to think that that's what it's about. And yeah, it's a commentary on modern day. Says no, it's not. You fool. Either you're a troll, leave comments like that, or you're you're really a fool. Either way, you're a fool. Ain't nobody believe. Oh, that's the real. It's modern. It's just a social. No, it's not. All that shit is fake. Some fucking dumbass, nerdy ass communists. And I keep telling you, the only reason they're communists is because they lost in life always. They was losers since they were little kids, and they thought it has to be something else. The rest of us, you fall down, you get back up. And we did. That's why we had friends, because they know we fall. When you're a little kid, we're 5, we're riding bikes. By then you already know how to ride bikes. I fall, I get right back up. I might scrape my knee, but I get right back up and we back at it. He's somebody else fall, whatever. And then by the time you're older, you don't fall no more. You're 10 years old, you don't fall, we're just having fun. But they know you're a solid dude. You get back up, all of us. Ain't no, somebody doing some, weak shit. But when somebody we know, we got the evidence. You fucking nerds, and like I said, thankfully y'all are too stupid and nerdy and loserish. You're losers. We know for a fact you're trying to sabotage everybody.
Triggered by any one of a number of so-called global emergencies, whether it was a so-called climate emergency, a health emergency, a cyber emergency, or a gun violence emergency, whatever that's supposed to be, a financial emergency, or whatever they deem appropriate. And the Biden-Harris administration is in full agreement with the UN and the WHO on efforts to place us under their authority and to require such things as their international health regulations, including the surveillance of U.S. citizens, the censoring of dissenting views, and much more. The American people didn't vote for this, and they don't support this.
That's all that shit is the goddamn, the spying, the Facebook, all that, Google, all that, but they going to implement it. They want to.
And it's up to the people's representatives, that's us gathered here today, to have a responsibility to expose this and to reject this. The U.S. should defund the WHO again. We should withdraw from the WHO. Any agreements with the WHO or the UN should require Senate approval or disapproval. And a bipartisan House majority voted to require Senate approval just last week with Tom Tiffany's bill on the House floor. So I'm proud to be joined here by House colleagues and others who are appropriately concerned and educated, informed, and leading on this issue. Again, this is the most important issue that's getting the least amount of attention relative to its importance and its impact on our country and on the American people. And with that, I yield to the gentleman from South Carolina, Ralph Norman.
Thank you, Congressman Good. I want to thank Frank Gaffney, Tony Perkins, all my colleagues for taking a lead role in this. As Congressman Good said, this is probably, other than our financial crisis this country's in, the most important issue to call attention to. The Summit of the Future will happen on September 22nd, 23rd. And folks, what that will do is cede America's authority.
See, it was the 22nd. When is the 20? It was Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, see, they try to, they make it with benign names, sounding names, Summit of the Future. There's Klaus Schwab in there, all of them. Yeah, Bill Gates. I think Bill Gates should be a war criminal. Treason charges against his own country, the U.S., all that shit. We're going to say, dude, no. You're evil and crazy.
Sovereignty to basically China. China is defined as a developing country. It is the number 2 economy behind America. It's not developing. It will cede our decision-making ability to China. That's what you need to know. Let me read out what the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres.
Why do y'all need, both? If this is a threat, and the people will be with you, who can? The few rich folks, their money should not count. The fact that they're the majority. I know it's not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, but they should y'all should have the power. Y'all should have generals, admirals, all of them on your side. Why is this not some kind,
His policy brief 2, issued on March of 2023. I propose that the General Assembly provide the Secretary General and the United Nations system with a standing authority to convene and operationalize automatically an emergency platform in the event of a future complex global shock of sufficient scale. Guess who determines that? The World Health Organization. It reveals in their definition a possible global shock, including large-scale climate or environmental events, determined by who? The Secretary General. Future pandemics. We all endured what the problem we had with the latest virus. High-impact events. involving a biological agent determined by who? The World Health Organization. Disruption of global
So what
flows.
they're saying, yeah, they make it vague, so they get all these sweeping powers, like they and Kamala and Biden, or Biden and Kamala are about to give them in real life all these powers to control the whole fucking world. All they have to do is say it, and then, like I said, you seen and you hear these people. Just like now, you hear it's a Wednesday night. You hear all these people. That's what I'm saying. They got their operatives all over. This ain't just Democrats. All these people just keep, all of a sudden, everybody just keep pulling up to this parking lot, just slamming the everybody just, that place right there, I don't even think it's privately owned. It's probably owned by Democrats somehow. All of a sudden, just everybody, just coming up here. It's not a club. It's supposed to be some kind of incubator or whatever you want to call it, for the nerds to do whatever. It's like, if you're such a good nerd, why do you need to come here? I guess to hang out or whatever. Shouldn't you have everything you need at your house? Why you broke? You can't afford 1,000 million gigawatt computer for your house? Whatever the fuck it's called, gigabyte, the fucking mega, whatever nerds.
Organization. Disruption of global flows of goods determined by who? Not America, but the WHO under the Secretary General. Not only that, it requires a 5% payment by the United States every year of our total medical dollars spent, which are in the trillions. Bottom line, we cannot let this go. This is a top line issue that America must be made aware of. It's got to go through the Senate, where it requires 60 votes. And we're going to fight to make sure all Americans know what's happening and stop it dead in its tracks. The WHO needs to be defunded, needs to be we need to do away with it, and America get out of it. I now call on Frank Gaffney with the Sovereignty Coalition.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you to all of those present. I wanted to most especially thank those who voted last week for H.R. 1425, which did exactly what Congressman Norman just talked about. Requires the United States Senate to advise and, I hope, dissent on the kind of surrender of our sovereignty to global government that is envisioned both with respect to the World Health Organization and with respect now to the UN. That's, make no mistake about it, the agenda of the UN Summit of the Future. That is unmistakably what they hope to put in train with their so-called Pact of the Future. And the thing that is absolutely infuriating about all of this is not only, as these gentlemen have said, this is really important. And most people in the media, most people in government, certainly the vast majority of Americans have no idea this is even going on, let alone reading in the rest of us. So it seems to me that what is needed now is not only to have the Senate charged, as with the World Health Organization's International Health Regulation Treaty, also the Pact for the Future. There must be no application of whatever they come up with in terms of world government by the UN Secretary General without the Senate's advice and consent. And secondly, I call here today on former President Donald Trump to use his platforms to address and draw out his opponent, the Vice President of the United States, on whether or not she supports world government. And if she doesn't, for her to disavow what the Biden administration is doing right now to try to bring it about. Thank you very much. Next up is Andy Biggs.
New World Order. Literally, there used to just be, conspiracy and movies, right? The Hunger Games. Like I said, the movie they just brought out, all that shit, that's what the new, it's supposed to just be myths. They literally are about to go over there and sign us away, all of us. And the only thing I can think of that means, like I said, you're a loser, and you rather. It's like a person who rather kill somebody than let them go. A wife or a boyfriend or whatever. Or well, that's what I'm saying. You rather. We're not. We're strangers. Obviously, but you fucked up your life so bad, and you don't care. You sleeping on the streets or whatever, or you broke, so you don't care. You rather everybody go down.
Thank you, Frank, and thanks to Bob and Ralph for organizing this, and for all who are standing with us, and my colleagues, and those who are concerned about this. Um, this administration has attacked United States sovereignty since day one. They've done it by attacking our geographical integrity, and now they want to cede our sovereignty over to the United Nations, and in particular the World Health Organization. It's important to understand that how critical it is that we let the American people know how dangerous this administration is and their policies are. So, when we think about it, $850 million, that's our annual assessment today to the World Health Organization. But we consistently pay more than our assessment. Why is that? Because this administration wants to pay more. And we're the folks at the United Nations working hand in glove with the World Health Organization to have their way. We would be spending even more. And we'd be spending more to become enslaved to them because of the things that my previous speakers, my co-speakers have said. I introduced legislation, H.R. 2022, which gets us out of the World Health Organization and defunds our portion of it. Why is that? It's because the World Health Organization has become captured. It's been captured by our international adversary, China. We saw that as a result of the COVID-19 issue and how the World Health Organization protected Xi Jinping and the Chinese. We can't give up any more of our sovereignty, any more of our geographical integrity, any more of our economic integrity to foreign actors who have no concern about the United States of America other than to take our power and our money away. This administration is all in for it. That should be enough to tell everyone that this is a non-starter. I appreciate my colleagues for helping raise this today. I appreciate you and the media being here today, because this will be an ongoing effort. An ongoing effort as the out-of-control spending that Congress is engaged in, coupled with the border problems that we have. Let's at least not turn over our healthcare apparatus to folks from a United Nations or an international multilateral institution that has no concern for us. So I thank you for being here, and now I yield to the gentlelady from Wyoming, my friend Harriet Hageman.
Thank you. In my home state of Wyoming, we have common sense, something that seems to be sorely lacking in the Biden-Harris administration. Wyomingites that I have spoken with consistently ask why this administration would push to fund any organization that has clearly come under the control of the Chinese Communist Party. They wonder why Biden and Harris would try to enter into unconstitutional agreements with foreign...
Because Biden and Harris, basic, are under, it's like it's so many that own them. It's like, yeah, they being pimped out by everybody. They're getting a train run on them. Klaus Schwab and them, China, they own, Biden and Harris. They all getting passed, Biden and Harris getting passed around. And by proxy, the rest of us who don't like that type of shit are getting passed around too.
Entities that would force Americans to give up their sovereignty. It is worth noting that the bulk of the WHO's budget comes from voluntary...
And that's what happens. That's what we keep saying. People, men, women like her, that's what we tell you. You don't put a hoe in charge because they're used to getting passed around. Think about it. Even if, they're treated nice by the people that they get passed to, you got, a porn star. Right? She get treated nice by the dudes. She's not into that rough shit. But you don't put her in because she's submissive. You don't put her in charge of millions, hundreds of millions of people. She's used to getting passed around. She's not a fighter. No, she lays down to Willie Brown, broke her ass. Is you gonna put her in fucking charge?
From multiple countries and organizations. Throughout the past decade, the United States has donated billions of taxpayer
And actually, I was
dollars.
being nice because she might be the type like that getting spit on and you know they put their foot on her head and all that shit and da 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 da.
Making us the WHO's largest financial contributor. Over this time, the CCP has exerted an expanded influence and corrupted the organization's data, research, and information sharing. Despite its abject failure, the organization is seeking greater control and greater funding while continuing to block legitimate investigations into the origins of COVID-19. On June 1st, the accord that amended the international health regulations was adopted by the World Health Assembly. While there are many concerning aspects of this accord, with its ceding of our sovereignty being at the top of the list, it obligates member states to address misinformation and disinformation. The result would be something that we have become all too familiar with under this administration: mandating, censoring, and sanctioning of speech and other actions that are at odds with the WHO Director General's deliberations. Of course, this is a clear violation of our constitutional rights, but Biden and Harris have never cared much for those. I have co-sponsored legislation introduced by Congressman Chip Roy, the No Taxpayer Funding for the World Health Organization Act, which would prohibit the U.S. from making any assessed or voluntary contributions to the WHO. International law does not trump the Constitution.
That's some pimp shit. You know, like Willie Brown pimp Kamal. You know, no, seriously, this you know, we all seen bitches who get their money to niggas and shit. You know, not just I ain't even talking about like bitches who actually literally are sex workers. I'm talking about bitches who got jobs. We seen the COs going to corrections officers going to prison over niggas and shit, and they worked in prison. You know, all that. That's what I'm saying. Some women, and really none, but okay, but you got some who ain't gonna do that shit, and that's a fact. You got one of these types of women in charge of the whole country, or right now vice president. But yeah, yeah, y'all. Some of y'all fools really wanted to think. Even some men. That's why I call them punks. Even wanted to think it was just misogyny, and we just whatever and that this and that, and we it's like no, we know it is like these niggas are. This is what we's telling you. They're suckers. They're not good men. They don't respect women. Matter of fact, they're the opposite. If anything, they're jealous of women, which is even worse. He's like, no, these niggas that we're trying to, I told you that shit, like gangster rap, it was real gangster rap. It just told you the truth that they didn't want us to hear. It didn't make you disrespect women. It kept you away from the hoes, and that's why you went for real women. That's how you you didn't have to tell you. It didn't even tell you who to look for. It's basically you just went for the opposite of what they were talking about. They didn't talk about oh, I got a good girl and da 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 da. None of that shit. You just go for the opposite.
Biden and Harris may be compromised by the CCP, but they cannot force Americans to follow laws and regulations not passed by our own federal government. Thank you, and with that, I cede to Ronnie Jackson.
Thank you. Well, I'd just like to start by saying, as a physician who's followed the WHO for many years now, in my time in government, during 3 presidential administrations, and now as my time as a member of Congress, I can tell you that the WHO in particular and the UN in general do not represent what's best for this country. In fact, they do everything they can to undermine us and defeat us. Look at what happened during COVID as a perfect example. During COVID, they lied to us
and they worked with China to cover up the origins of COVID. You have to ask yourself, do you really want, next time this happens, for the WHO to decide how taxpayer dollars in this country are spent, to decide what resources we are and are not eligible for, despite the fact that we...
I mean, that's exactly what we all said, They said, that's like somebody telling you what to do with your paycheck. No, you got to do what? It's my money. This is our money. They're going to tell us what to do.
Overwhelmingly fund their operations. That's what you're asking. That's what you're going to get. And as my colleague, Mr. Good, pointed out, they can define an emergency in any way they want. And believe me, it will be creative, and it won't be a healthcare crisis again next time. It'll be something related to the climate or gun control or some other woke agenda that they have on their radar. This IHR treaty is...
You see, these guys are relatively unknown. It's like the only one I do know was the female. I seen her a lot. Her. That's the only one I do know. So it's a good thing though. I say, because sounds like they're listening to me and there are other folks, who, cause we said it before. Why are they telling us what to do? And like he said, they'll be able to define what the emergency is. That's just like you making up shit, a crazy dude who make up shit to keep his girl at home or whatever. Trying to control her. It is like, really, if you gotta do all that, you don't need her. But instead you just try to keep her and make up shit, And that's what they writing these rules where they could just make it anything. Oh, it's too many cars, oh, you gotta... It's just so much they coming at us with all at once. And then, so they got this dude riding around with a fucked up stereo, listening to that fucked up music. Sound like somebody. I don't know if y'all can hear it. He just drove by. Non-rapping, non-talking, retarded ass niggas. But anyway, it looks like it's finna go down. But anyway, I believe like what they said on Rumble, that sounds more plausible, not just because of conspiracy. Like I said, I got personal experience with that. Y'all literally made my cousin join the military, not just to mock me, but to indoctrinate him. Didn't go special forces. This was like 8 years ago. And literally, like I said, I'm like, how are you? You don't want to be above average. And that's the communist thing, he's letting them know, because what he was telling me out, like I said, they thought I was, I want to be better than there. And I'm like, no, I'm just doing what I was always told. And I guess, all these years later in the 82nd, now you're not supposed to be the best of the best. You're supposed to just be, I don't want to be above average. It don't matter. Everybody was above average. You're supposed to be above average. And it's like, it don't matter. There's no, I don't want to be above average. You can't help it. I said that before, recently in the last couple of years after thinking about it. It didn't even affect me or make me mad or anything. It's just, but I'm like, nah, just how come certain people get to say, I was born this way, I was born this way inside of the wrong body. Okay, so I was born above average. So why is that? For me being born a certain way, that's different than a lot of people or majority of people, because I'm above the average mentally, whatever. Why is that a problem? How come I don't get protected? Instead, you think I don't think, I just know things. How is that my fault? I'm supposed to pretend I don't know and keep quiet? No, I can't do that. And it's not just human intelligence. Is I happen to be born in a family, that who knows how long it's been passed down, the Holy Spirit, this and that. So I definitely can't just pretend and put my head, I don't know what I have to talk. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. But I'm gonna point that out too. There's another full moonster tonight. Let me see if these clowns still out here. Yeah, the car's out, but yeah, everybody got their lights off this time. You know, like I said, y'all don't want this. Y'all, that's what I'm saying. Y'all start shit, and I put shit down. You know, then you get mad and want to send your people to, because I said, and it's like they when they argue. I'm not a cop. What I'm saying is, I could just be a cashier. Bottom line, they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing. I'm supposed to be here. I pay rent here. I could turn my light on. I could do this and that. You ain't supposed to. Yeah, but they're, it's like that. This was communism. We can be here. We have a right to be here. Because remember, I told you, a dude was sitting there right outside. I'm like, nigga, I ain't even talking about government shit and police. You just gonna be sitting outside my house? No, be it, don't worry. I don't care if your mama own all the he did, she might do a lot of houses. I don't give a fuck, nigga. You sitting outside my house that look like an ambush. The fuck is wrong with you, little nigga? Like, y'all don't be thinking they brainwash y'all with this communist shit. We allowed? No, you're not allowed to be here, nigga. I would have never did no dumb shit like what you doing. You know what I'm saying? Especially one of them older niggas in my, if I was 20, one of them 50, 60-year-old niggas, 60, 70, you ain't finna sit outside their house. You better get your little ass, especially if he older. He's 75, 80, maybe, whatever, or 85. This motherfucker hand shaking. Not because he's scared. He's just old. Yeah, this nigga might pull the trigger by mistake. But he right. You shouldn't have been out there. That motherfucker's crazy.